It's Friday, I believe, early in the morning, my first run in the Ram 3500 with the Cummins diesel. We are heading west to my first delivery, and I loaded some Baker scaffolding, you know, the light one, and then some blue scaffolding, the trademark or whatever they call it, like the real deal. And I have 2 drops in northwest Calgary. And it's interesting that I'm driving a diesel powered truck, and I was just exchanging messages with a friend, a subscriber, with a subscriber in UK, in Great Britain. And of course over there in Europe they're obsessed with diesel engines. And he was saying that he had a Suzuki, which actually you cannot buy in Canada. Like, if you check up Suzuki Canada, all they sell is sorry, just checking if the camera is recording. All they sell is motorcycles. Like Suzuki vehicles, cars, they disappeared. Nobody was buying them. I think they did very badly. But anyway, he has this Suzuki with 1.6 diesel, and he says it does 4.5 liters per 100 kilometers, or like some crazy 56 miles a gallon. But because it's a small engine, it gets to 100 kilometers an hour in 11 seconds. So basically, you start accelerating when it's fall and you finish accelerating when it's winter. So no, that's too small of an engine. But yeah, the fuel economy is impressive. And I asked him, I said, how does it work with diesel for you? Like, do you still save money? Because over here diesel of course is more expensive, even though it's cheaper to make, but because of the demand. Like, for example, now I'm passing Esso. Gas is $1.48.9, but they don't have diesel. Okay, next one is Shell. Let's see over there. So yeah, prices went down a bit. Like 2 weeks ago it was $1.55. Okay, here we have diesel. Check this out. So this is a Shell on the right. So $1.48.9 per liter gas, and green is diesel, $1.67.9. $1.67, what is that? 17, 18, almost 20 cents difference, right? And so I asked this gentleman, I said, how does it work? Like, do you still save money? And he says, yeah, over there of course prices are much higher. Like, the gas is 250 Canadian per liter, and diesel, he says, is 265, and they're still, everybody's buying diesel vehicles. And that's the strategy of car makers in Europe, because over here it's either electric, which lost its appeal to many people, or if it's not a regular gas engine, it's a turbo engine. For some reason here in North America, manufacturers prefer to use turbo but gas engines, you know, like what they do, the same thing as like the case with this Suzuki. So they take a very small engine and they slap a turbo on it, which adds power and torque, and it gets better gas economy. And we have a lot of cars like that here with small turbos. But diesel, of course, I would say it's more reliable, because it's a more durable engine because of how it works, right? It kind of like explosions inside, so it has to be strong enough to withstand all that. But also here in Western Canada, like 2 days ago in the morning, it was minus 28 Celsius. Like, my fingers were falling off, you know, like I still feel numbness in the tip of my fingers. I think I'm gonna lose skin over there, because I was loading and I had gloves on, but in minus 28, those rubber gloves with some lining underneath, but they didn't do much, you know. Like, hands were my weakest spot. I have like 3 pair of socks. I have nice, you know, safety boots which are pretty warm, lots of layers, you know, upper body, lower body, but the hands, man. And so I mentioned this cold temperatures because diesel is notorious, right, for gelling up and stuff like that, and it's much harder to deal with than gas engines. But this Ram, man, this is a killer. Like, there's so much power, you know, but of course it's what is it? It's like 6-liter diesel. It's a huge Cummins. Well, not huge compared to my my old semi trucks, which were 15 liters. Yeah, the International was a 15-liter diesel.
500 meters. Use the right lane to take the Bennington Trail Route.
The next one, Mac, was a 13-liter, and then I upsided to the K-Whopper Kenworth, which was over 15, I believe.
Use the right lane to take the Bennington Trail Route, then take the Bennington Trail Route.
Alright, so we're taking the Bennington Trail. There's a golf course here on the right.
Take the Bennington Trail Route.
Everything is covered in snow, so there's no players yet.
Continue on Bennington Trail for 2 kilometers.
And so yeah, it's interesting how, you know, different continents have different preferred engines. So small diesel in Europe and small turbo over here, but lots of people still, like me included, we like big V8 engines, because you see, like, if it's $2.50 a liter in UK and it's $1.48 over here, it's way cheaper, so we can afford big engines, even though of course the gas mileage is terrible compared to that Suzuki, but it's much more fun to drive. You don't need to wait 11 seconds till you get to 100 kilometers an hour. So in other news, so I had to remove the iTag, the GPS thing, from Durango, because that's the new policy of the rental company. They don't allow GPS trackers in vehicles, and so I have no idea where my Durango is now. The guy who rented it from February 15th until March 5th, and so he's driving somewhere, but their bags were dirty, so I'll have to do a lot of cleaning in the back there. They had all these snowboards in cases. You know, I wanted to buy a tarp for them, like a cheap tarp, you know, like what you see in Walmart, that blue tarp. But it was last minute, and I couldn't. I went to Dollarama, like a dollar store. Usually they have them, but I couldn't find them. But next time, I'm definitely supplying a tarp, because everybody, their luggage is. This is not the first time I noticed this. Everybody's luggage is dirty. You know, like at the bottom where it probably. It lies on the floor somewhere in the plane, and so then it rubs off. It rubs off on the fabric, you know, on the back of the seats, and it's not easy to clean. So, but yeah, so now everybody's so happy. It's +4 now.
500 meters. Slight right onto the Alberta
+4 Celsius.
Trail Route.
Which is what, getting close to 40 F. So life is so much better than when it's super cold. And I did some Ubering yesterday. Probably had 5 or 6 passengers, made about $50 and went home. Had some pierogies with potatoes Life is good. Okay, the first stop is done. Wanted to show you guys unloading the baker stuff, but the guys that were waiting for me, they use the scaffolding, by the way. They specialize in lighting. They install chandeliers, you know, in some fancy, this is a pretty fancy home, and so it has, you know, very high ceilings, so they need scaffolding because of course they need some kind of a lift, but you cannot bring a machine inside the home, right, like a scissor lift or something. And so they use scaffolding, and they're one of our, like, I know the name already. Like, there's two names. One is the drywall guys, very popular. They always order scaffolding. And then these guys with the lighting, but they order baker, the smaller one. And so now my next stop is, all I have to do is I have to put in the address in my service phone and see what my ETA is. Oh wow, it's southwest. Holy, well, 30 kilometers. So now I'm north part of Calgary, so I have to go basically into a rural area and then south, and to come down back to 201.
Turn right onto Country Hills Boulevard Northwest, east.
And it shows
Head
me
south on Rockcliffe Terrace Northwest toward Rockcliffe Hill Northwest.
and it shows me ETA 8:45. I usually add a couple of minutes to that, but then I open my text messaging app here on this iPhone, and I just put the number of this guy, and usually we try to get their cell number. Like 9 out of 10 it'll be a cell number here, so I know I can send him a text message. There's a guy's name, kind of like my contact, but he's not on site. He's kind of like responsible for this. Okay, yeah, and then I click DL for delivery, and the number shows up. I click on that number, and right away the message is preset. Hello, this is such and such company. We are on our way with your equipment delivery. Call or text this number with any site delivery instructions. I give them an office phone number, and then all I do is just add ETA to this particular street. I just don't even use the building number. I just say, because these guys have a lot of sites, so I'm telling you ETA to this place is, let me double check, so 8:46. That's what Google says, so I'll just say 8:50 a.m. Boom, sent. And then if there's nobody on site, because we had some thefts before, like when I dropped off a generator, somebody took it, and then some scaffolding was missing. So if there's nobody on site, I always take a picture, because over here, you know, in the iPhone, you can click the plus button and it opens a menu like this, where the top choice is camera, and you click on camera. I can take a picture, and right away it inserts it into text message, and then I say delivered, and this way the customer knows I'm delivered, and I have proof. You know, if they show up there and they say, hey, where's the scaffolding? You did not deliver it. No, yes I did. Here's the picture, and I texted to this number, so don't start with me now. So anyway, so now it's a pleasant drive in the country. So 30 kilometers, it says it'll take 30 minutes. So what is it, like 60 kilometers an hour my speed? Oh well, what do you do, right? We're gonna use this as a dash cam, if I can figure out a way to. I think it'll work. We'll see how long the battery will last. And the powerful diesel comes to life. I think we have to go left, I think.
Turn right onto Country Hills Boulevard Northwest East.
Right. Why would I go right? Oh, wait a second. I made a mistake. It was a wrong orientation on the phone. Looks like I'm not going southwest. I'm going northeast towards Airdrie. I just have to double check with my dispatch. And the boss confirmed that's Airdrie, but they forgot to put the and the powerful diesel comes to life. I like saying that. Oh, that beep, it says perform service. Probably needs an oil change. So yeah, we're going to Airdrie and I'm gonna go on some rural roads. So you guys are in for a treat. We're heading away, like this is east. I'm heading east now, turning left on Rocky Ridge Road. And the road I'm on right now, it's called Country Hills Boulevard. And so now we're turning north.
Continue on Rocky Ridge Road northwest for 3 kilometers.
Like this structure on the right, something humongous. I think it's probably some kind of a sports arena. It's such a weird shape, you know. And they have their own little pedestrian bridge over this little lake here. And that's it. We are pretty much in the country. Oh yeah, it's YMCA. That's what it is. This building, YMCA. So it's where you go to have fun. See right away, boom. There's farms, private land on both sides. Walking a dog on the right. The dog is the size of a cat, but he doesn't seem to mind. Okay, speed limit is 70 clicks an hour. Oh, by the way, wanted to say, saw on the news, somebody paid for an ad. You know how you have these digital signs along the side of the road where people advertise services and products. So somebody took out an ad, a digital ad, and it's on Highway 2, one of our major highways that goes towards US, north and south. And so somebody took out a huge billboard, digital billboard, and it says, "Tell Daniel we want to be a 51st state." Of course, Daniel is Daniel Smith, our Prime Minister of Alberta. And so some people are pushing for Alberta basically to leave Canada and join US. And the port, I talked to a couple of people. One of them said, yeah, I think it would be a good idea because we have too many taxes and real estate prices are too high in Canada. She says, my kids were trying to buy a house, but there's too many rules, they cannot buy a house. So she says, yeah, I would be okay if Alberta became part of US. And then they talked to another guy and he says, hell no. We have our own, we have much better life here. Like, we have our freedoms, we have this, we have that. So, it's a division, I don't know. But I think, yeah, if one really bad thing in Canada is, yeah, we have high taxes and all prices are actually higher than in the States, you know, like if you compare food, gas, you know, alcohol, US is much cheaper. But there's no guarantee, right? It's, if Alberta becomes part of US, let's say, there's no guarantee that real estate here and all prices would match what's happening in the mainland US. It can be like, you know, East and West Germany, where even though they became one country, but still there's differences. So I don't know, but I would not mind paying less in tax, like especially income tax, and having cheaper gas prices. Because as you saw this morning, right, so $1.48 per liter. So let's say $1.50 times 4. It's like $6 Canadian. So there's like over $4 US per gallon probably. And also our dollar now, Canadian dollar is pretty weak. But you know, I'm okay when I used to be paid in US dollars when I was a trucker. Actually, it was a big advantage having a weak Canadian dollar, because let's say I deliver a load for a American freight broker, so let's say Landstar, so they pay me in US dollars, you know, but I'm Canadian, right? So I buy everything in Canada, food, gas, like for my own vehicle, right? And so let's say they pay me $10,000, I come back home, I go to the bank and exchange it for US dollars, and it's like 13,000. So, you know, I just made like $3,000 because of the weak dollar, you know. So it was always great having US dollars. But now when I'm paid in Canadian dollars, the exchange rate does not concern me, right? Because I'm not spending US dollars. I'm paid in Canadian dollars, I spend Canadian dollars. So I don't care about the exchange rate. Okay, what is this? So yeah, I thought that was only a small part. That was the rural road. Now it's like we're back in Calgary. How do I get to Airdrie? Now we're taking Shaganappi Trail. Okay. Yeah, after we turn on that Shaganappi Trail, we're going straight north into the boonies. So that would be more interesting. And now I have 4 large frames, 2 small frames, which are called half frames. 4 10-footer decks, 3 braces, and 4 casters or wheels that they attach at the bottom.
Turn left on the Shaganappi Trail northwest.
Yeah, and you see, that's the typical building on the left. You see, it's all plywood. Well, probably there's a different technical term, but I call it plywood.
Turn left onto Shaganapti Trail Northwest.
So the foundation is made from concrete, of course, but then the rest is just boards and plywood. Okay, here we go. So bye-bye Calgary.
10 kilometers.
Now we're gonna be here for 10 kilometers, 6 miles, and we're going into the fields of Alberta. And you can tell this is the end of the city because you see on the right it's all empty field, but they're already doing something there. Probably they're gonna see like the residential houses are on the left. Yeah, it looks like they'll keep building houses here. I'm guessing the plan is to keep building until Calgary merges with Red Deer or something, or maybe Edmonton. Because the appetite for real estate here is just insatiable. There's so many people. I think I read in the news that Calgary now is the most popular city for inside country migration in Canada. I don't think I ever drove on this road north of Calgary. On the left with a typical red barn, and here on the left I see some horses and cows. Glad I have an automatic transmission here. Otherwise, I'd be hustling with the shifter. Or speed limit now is 100, a cool 100 kilometers an hour. The guy in front of me, as usual, nobody reads signs. He's driving, what is it, 90? Come on, buddy. right.
Continue for 10 kilometers.
Now we're heading east. Past the sign that says Airdrie city limits. Changes from discourse brake. It has two stages, full and auto. Full applies each time I take my foot off the throttle, but automatic applies when I push the brake. You see, now I push the brake, it starts applying, which is helpful because it saves brake pads. That's it. So this is the west side of Airdrie, and when I do the delivery, I'll just jump on Deerfoot or Highway 2 and head south towards Calgary. So now I'm just looking for 8th Street. Turning left on north. This is actually quite popular town, you know. I know lots of people that used to live in Calgary and then they moved over here. It's about 25-30 clicks north. But you have all the same, it's a much smaller town, you have all the same, you know, stores, big department stores, grocery stores, like big chains. And I think housing is a bit cheaper here. Bayside Island Estates. Wow, so that's where the rich people live. Alright, let me just double check my address
Your destination is on the right.
and see where I'm dropping off this. Yeah, that's it. The delivery is done, and it was easy for me because, you know, for these guys we normally put it inside the garage, but I walked in and right away there's a guy came over to me and he says, you cannot.
Northwest on Bayside Island. Bayside Island Estates southwest on Bayside Drive southwest.
He says, you cannot put it in the garage. I said, why not? He says, well, we're still working on the ceiling. And I look up and everything is open over there. Yeah, I just wanted to drive slow and show you guys these houses. Like, they're pretty.
In 150 meters, turn left onto Bayside Drive southwest.
They're beautiful. So they have their own little island over here, because what I had to cross there is the bridge.
Turn left onto Bayside Drive southwest.
Yeah, see, like this is well, actually it's not a bridge. There's land in there. Yeah, and on the right there's a very small lake, on the left. This reminds me of in the south part of Calgary. Yesterday we were doing a pickup. There's a place called Marina Island, but that one is like a real island because you have to cross a bridge to get to it. But it's artificial
600 meters,
lake,
turn right onto 8th Street southwest.
and they built an island in the middle of it. But it's a very small lake. And we were picking up scaffolding at one place there, and went inside to look because we were missing one 10-footer board or deck. And we went inside, and the living room had you know, like French doors, whatever they called, and there's a deck, and right you're staring at the water, you know. So it's so cool. So you can sit on the deck, you know, sip your overpriced, you know, champagne or wine, and just watch the sunset or sunrise on the water. Yeah, and these are just, as you can see, these are just regular houses, but that's my dream. My dream is one of, in the future, own something like this where I have a garage where I can hide my vehicles. Yeah, I need a double garage. Where I can hide my Dodge Durango and Jeep Compass.
work,
Left on Yankee Valley Boulevard Southwest.
like he lives here, and imagine it's like 25 kilometers one way. So every day he drives 50 kilometers. That's pretty much the same as what I do with Uber. You know, I try not to do too many kilometers
Turn left on Yankee Valley Boulevard Southwest.
because my Jeep Compass is already at 39,000 clicks. But I do like a couple of hours, right? Like I don't.
Continue on Yankee Valley Boulevard Southwest for 1.5 kilometers.
I usually don't do Mondays because they're super slow for taxi work. So I do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday I do like half a day. Usually starting around lunchtime. And this, you know, puts a few $100 in my pocket, and I don't kill the Jeep. And it's all because I live so close. I'm only 7 clicks, or I don't know, 4 miles, just over 4 miles from my apartment to the office. I got very lucky in this regard. And so since I plan to continue working there, I have to find when I'll be looking for a house or a townhouse, maybe in a year or a couple of years, I want to be close to northeast Calgary. Even though we always have snowstorms, like hailstorms in there in the summer, but I like the area. I like being close to the airport because, again, when I do Uber and I do my rental, lots of my potential customers, you know, arrive here by the plane, and so I'm right, you know, close by. And plus, that area where I live, there's a lot of hotels because of the proximity of the airport, and so I think it's a great area for business when you provide, you know, kind of like limo service or Uber service or whatever, and plus car rentals. So I don't want to leave that area. Just I might find something maybe slightly better. Oh, and also it's cheap. Like northeast is cheaper than other parts of Calgary. And on the upside, we have a lot of Indian restaurants. Some people might call it the downside, but I call it upside. I like Indian food.
Use the right lane to take the Alberta to South Bridge.
So lots of Indian restaurants because we have lots of people from India living there. And here it's a very confusing intersection. You see, like this turn to the right, you would think that this is Highway 2. No, there's a local road.
Right lane to take the Alberta to South Bridge.
Yeah, Highway 2 is only this one. Once I think I went into that shopping area. Now here we're gonna have a bit of fun because the speed limit is 110, 68 miles per hour, ladies and gentlemen. And normally they don't bother you 10 over. So if you do 120 clicks, you're okay. After that, it's a toss, depending on what kind of peace officer and police person is stopping you.
This is the next day, Saturday. I feel very tired because I got up at 4 o'clock today and did some Uber till 7, and then I went to work. I worked till 3:15 today at my main job. Uber was not good, only did $46 with Uber and I think 14 with Lyft, so $60 total. I just wanted to show you guys. So I was thinking what I'm gonna eat for lunch, for dinner, and I really love this real Indian brown basmati rice. It takes a long time to cook, takes 40 minutes, but it's like gorgeous, you know, full of vitamins, minerals. What I like doing, you know, try to do something kind of like Mediterranean diet, so I'm gonna cook rice. For now I'm just preheating my oven, and I prepared this. So we have eggplant, mushrooms, yellow peppers, and this thing over here. What do you call it? Kalirabi, I don't know. Put some oil in there, and I use foil so that I don't have to clean the tray very thoroughly. Got this at Dollarama. And so once the oven is preheated, I know I can set the timer for 20 minutes, and this thing will be ready. And probably I should start cooking rice, because yeah, rice will be done sooner. And then I'm gonna put it in this pan. I still have to figure out what this is for. Got it at an India store, and when I tried to cook something in it, the bottom started buckling, started like expanding, but the walls are very thick. I feel there's like extra layer here, so I think maybe it's for tandoori or something. But this thing definitely does not like it when you put it on the it's too light. But the walls have some layer between them. I keep forgetting. I want to ask at the Indian store, like, what is this for? You know, like, but actually for me it works, because I use it to store, you know, cooked food. So for example, now when the rice is done, I'm gonna put rice in here. I'm gonna mix with this, and my favorite is small peas, and you know, mix it up together, so that will last me like a couple of days. Probably even I can do Monday lunch at work. I'll bring this rice. So Mediterranean diet, that's what they say promotes longevity. So the veggies are ready. I keep the peas out because they're cold, so I'm gonna close this, so this will keep it warm, because the rice still needs about 20 minutes to finish. And then we're gonna put it in here, of course drain first, and then add the green peas, and it's gonna be a heck of a dinner. Well, the rice is ready, all the water evaporated. I don't think there's anything to drain. But see, that's why I like this big pot. So I still don't know how to use it for cooking, but I know how to use it for, you know, for mixing. Wow, this is gonna last me 2 days. This looks good. And that's the final product. So rice with veggies, which includes peppers, eggplant,
mushrooms, sweet peas. So now we're just gonna load it up on the bowl, and then the rest will be stored for future use.